Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Align Plans. Today is a very special day because we're going to slowly begin our process of unboxing and setting up some of the planners and journals that I have planned for 2025. So today we're going to be fully focused on the Midori Hibino 2025 one day and 2-page planner, and I will walk you through some of the features, why I chose it, how I've been using my previous years, how I've been using my 2024 one, and just kind of like what you can expect if this is something that is brand new to you. So I'm going to do my best not only to do the unboxing, but then also to kind of look at like what pens you can use, what are the features, why you should go for it if it's something that is right for you. And let's just get right into it. So if this is the first time that we're meeting and we've never met before, hello, my name is Meshi and I'm the person behind Align Plans. We chat a couple of times a week on this channel and we go into anything and everything minimalist planning and stationery. But the whole intention behind this channel is actually to find meaning and to use these tools in a more therapeutic way so that it enhances your life rather than going into overconsumerism. So if that's your jam, then you should probably consider subscribing. So let's talk first a little bit about my 2024 and why I have chosen to kind of go for it. Honestly, when it comes to basically, I have had a moment with Midori, and I think I'm still kind of having a moment with Midori because I really wanted to have a product that is small, that is portable. I thought that this planner would actually become my catch-all, my everyday carry planner. I really like the idea of having a small compact size, and we're matching. As you can tell, it comes in an A6 size, and it's a chunky little thing. And I just fell in love with how different it is and just some of the features. I love the idea of having a full year in one booklet. So that kind of what drew me in initially. And then it kind of evolved throughout the year. So as the year went on, I started to use it in a different way and kind of experiment with other systems. And then I realized what it was initially intended for and how it actually is going to work for me. It's in a very specific, journaling style. And so yes, you can absolutely use it as a day-to-day planner. You can 100% use it as an everyday carry. It's ideal for those of you really, and we've kind of went through this in my Is It For You series. And if you haven't had a chance to check that out, I will just leave it in the cards for you so you can check that out. But ultimately, when it comes right down to it, I think that this was ideal because it gave me 2 pages, which allowed for a form of memory keeping in a smaller format than what I was getting from a Hobonichi Hon. But if you open it up, basically one page is dedicated almost like a planner, the other page is dedicated almost like a notes page. So here, a quarter of the page is kind of set up as your schedule, so you can write in your agenda, any appointments, anything that's kind of going on in your day. It gives you some small icons for the weather, and then you have this huge space here where you can kind of write down any plans, any to-dos, any running to-dos, any ideas, any notes. It's fully there for you. And then the other page is fully blank. So again, you can utilize it for whatever you actually need. So ultimately, this is kind of what intrigued me at first. I really like the small, compact, portability aspect of it. I really love small, chunky planners for some reason. And what I didn't realize is that the grid is going to be smaller. I believe this is, I'm not sure if it tells you, I think that it will tell you here on the new one. Yeah, it's 2.55, it's 2.5 millimeter grid, so it's definitely smaller than most of the grids that we are used to, both from Hobonichi Hon, from a Hobonichi A6, and also from any of the Midori notebooks. And I believe it is also smaller than what you would ultimately get from a Hobonichi Weeks as well. I'll just show you a comparison side by side for the grid, so you can take a look. You can definitely see that this is significantly bigger than what you get here. So ideally, this is great for those of you that write smaller, or you just wanted a smaller grid so that you get more of a compact kind of setup. But the way I started using this, like I said, it started out as just using it as like a day-to-day planner. I was very much just kind of keeping a to-do list, and then I started sectioning off the page section, so like the blank side. I started sectioning it off in different ways and kind of experimenting how I wanted it to look ultimately. And then it eventually evolved. Like in the summertime, it actually evolved to. It wasn't until the summertime until I started taking it with me to the pool with my kids, and we started doing, because you can tell like I skipped quite a bit here. But then in the summertime, we went into just like a totally different setup. I started to add a lot more decor, and then I started to really experiment with the layout. And the layout that I ultimately landed on is I added 2 sections here on the left-hand side. I still keep the agenda for the sake of keeping the agenda for memory keeping. But then here on this full note section, I have a section for reflections. I had a section on a regular basis for, at first it was just 10 interesting things. So I would kind of list out like 10 interesting things that kind of took place during the day, or just moments that took place, or reflections. And then today, now the way that I kind of write is I write some of the best moments, anything and everything that I'm kind of currently working through, and then a daily reflection. So it does give you the space to do all of that, but you might not need that much to write. I like it more. This is definitely becoming more of a mindfulness practice than anything else. It's definitely becoming a space where I can not only keep memories. The other thing was I really wanted to have a space where I can just kind of add pictures. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's not a must-have, but it's definitely part of what I like to do, where I would like to have that option if I choose to do that. So these are like, so I would have something like moments for the day and then reflection. So I really like the idea of catching certain things that are happening as they are happening, and then reflecting on the overall quality of the day and what worked and what are sort of my main takeaways. Because if we're not really doing that, then it's sort of like you're allowing that day to pass by, and you might miss on those micro details where you brought awareness to what has actually taken place in your day, and then how that impacted you overall. So that's sort of where my decision making was. I thought about like not kind of going back into this. If I'm going into a Hobonichi Han again, then I felt redundant, but the way I share information on this little planner is slightly different than the way that I would journal in my Hobonichis, especially if it's a larger size. So here we are. For 2025, I've opted for a camel. So you can have either this turquoise blue or you can have the camel. And I was really hoping to have the camel this year. So let's just open her up. So you have like this little informational card that comes with it that kind of tells you a little bit about how to use it. You also get some inspiration of how you can kind of set up your layouts, because they kind of get that they are giving you 2 pages. So you can use it for sketching, so make it more artistic. You can definitely use it for business purposes. And this is definitely more structured, where they're kind of, you can write down like what you ate and the expenses, all of that. I really like the idea of like showing you different layout ideas so that you don't feel so stuck, and then how to kind of section things off, which is also very lovely. So this comes with it. You can also see this online as well if you wanted to. And then we have our little sleeve, very true to Midori. I love this, by the way, it's so cute. And then let's open her up. So first, at first glance, you get basically a 2025 calendar, a 2026 calendar. Then you have a future log, and I really like the layout here a little bit more, where we can just kind of fit everything on 2 pages, and they just give you like a little grid. I like the idea of like being able to kind of space out what you're writing. And then we're moving right into monthly, and here you basically just kind of shows you when you have the new moon, the full moon, and all of that. So you do have some access to the moon phases. Everything is in like this brown ink, and the color of the paper is more of like this beigey cream color. And then your monthly goes all the way up to, I think you get December, and then you get January. You get January of 2026, so you can kind of plan all the way into January of the following year. And then from there, you just move right into your dailies. And as I said, like in your dailies, you have that section for your schedule. You have like the other like inner part of the left-hand side for whatever you need to write on. And then you have like the little icons for the weather. You also get like two little lines at the very top for priorities, for word of the day, for intentions, for quick reminders. So you can use them in multiple ways if you wanted to. What I started doing with this top section actually, and I just started doing this like a couple of days ago, but I really like it. Well, a couple of things. I do like a little color coordination here. So I started using these small little markers. The ones that I was using is the one from Uni. I think these are like the Uni Emmet pens. So if you have these, I mean, you can use any fine tip marker, but I started writing basically what I need to set. So the first line was to what I need to set, and then the second time is what I need to get. So I needed to set boundaries, and I needed to get more rest. So that was really lovely. And then you also have like a little calendar, but like I find that the icons and like the detailing on the page, I'm just make sure that it's not perfect. So I find that like the little details that you receive on the page are not obstructing the function of the planner. And I think that was actually one of the draws where I felt like there was enough space for me to be creative. I can go and have fun with it. I can add in some of the stickers, but I don't feel like I have to. I don't feel like if I don't decorate it, it's somehow going to be missing something. So I think that was the other draw for me, where I just felt like it gave me the flexibility that I was really looking for. See how there's like a theme here with flexibility. So anyway, so I really wanted to kind of get it. So the way that I'm using it right now, which we kind of covered a little bit, is I'm using it more as a mindfulness practice and a daily journal, where I give myself enough space to kind of write anything and everything that came up. The main thing, and I think yesterday's and the day before, like what I wrote, it seems like an accurate representation of how I feel about this, where I would write down some of the best moments. I try to do it more in bullet point, but if I need to elaborate, I will. Anything that was like shadow work or anything that would be directly associated with the word that I picked for today, I would also kind of journal on that, and any small reflections that I had, which really, it sounds like a lot that I'm kind of congesting into a small space, but I think that's sort of what kind of drew me in, that I can jam pack it with as much or as little as I want. So the small spacing can work for you if it's something where you find yourself kind of doing more long format writing. So that's one thing that I really want you to remember if you get into this type of journal or planner, that it allows you to do long format writing far more than some of the planners that come with like a larger grid. The larger grid will allow you to write bigger if your handwriting is larger, but then you will also find that if you wanted to write something longer format, you will need a separate journal or a separate notebook. So there's something to kind of keep in mind. The other question that generally comes up about this is, does it lay flat? And eventually it does. I mean, like the beginning, like see how there is, when basically there's like an imbalance, like there's, you know, at the very beginning, this side does become a little bit challenging. So what you could, I never found it to be a massive issue. Like, as you can tell, like you can kind of push it down so that you can still write on it. So it's not like the first, let's say, month or so, you're not going to be able to write anything there, but it's to say that you're probably better off adding something underneath it, like a pencil holder or something like that, where it kind of balances out, because it's a chunky little notebook. So just keep that in perspective, that you're not going to be able to get fully laying flat perfectly, because the weight kind of needs to distribute evenly. Having said all of that, I haven't really noticed too much of an issue after January. So once we kind of got through January and I broke in the spine, it does lay flat. So here, like, you would just kind of have to push it down a little bit. I do believe that this is sewn. No, it's not sewn in. This is glued together. So just kind of keep that in mind, that like the beginning part, you need to kind of flatten it, because right now it'll want to kind of close. We also get some bookmarks. Let me just open her up. So there is two little strings that comes with it. So one is for your daily, the other one is for the monthly, obviously. So what I was hoping to do today is basically what I would like to do today. There's not much to do as far as setup is concerned, but I'm hoping that at the very least I can maybe just decorate this page, which I think would be really nice. And I'm not going to do anything with December, but maybe just add a few of the tabs, and I'll show you the ones that I'm planning on using. So for tabs, I did buy this like years ago from Midori, and hopefully I have enough, because if I don't, then we're going to have to revisit this. Okay, yeah, I think I do. So I have these little tabs that are numbered. This one is just like a neutral, like a grayish color, but it does the job, it works. So here what you do, and you can kind of tell. So let me just do that with, we're only going to be doing that with the daily. Obviously, I'm not going to be doing that with the monthly, because I don't see the point. So I'm hoping to just add it right here. And see how it goes on kind of clear? So it doesn't actually disrupt whatever's underneath it, which is really nice. So I think it looks elegant enough. That's why I like these little tabs, that it's hard to find like really good small tabs that are not so obstructive, you know? So I'll be right back. Let me do the rest of them off camera and we'll be right back. All right, so the tabs are now in, and this is what it looks like. Look how small. It looks so small and posh and elegant. Like, I absolutely love it. So the only other thing that I would like to do at this point is basically just come in and maybe just kind of do a little bit of a decoration on the future log and tell you a little bit more about what are some of the pens that I have found that were useful. So that's the other thing too, that if you're finding yourself more gravitating, or if you have a preference for certain pens or types of pens, then I think the other thing that might kind of sway you one way or the other to see if this might be a right fit for you for next year is to see what type of pens you can actually use with it. So let's first do a little bit of decoration. I have like the cutest little sticker sets that I bought from, I think I bought these from, I can't even remember, Bomkuan maybe? But I mean, they're adorable. And then the other ones that I really wanted to use, no, Kubo and Lucy. I bought it from Kubo and Lucy. If you haven't used their stuff, please do. Like, their sticker sets are always so beautiful. Let me grab my little tweezers. I always find that I do better with that. Maybe we can add one more there. Let me grab one more sheet because I had some saved here as well. I'm thinking we can use the pumpkin pie. I feel like I've been waiting for so long to use this whole sticker set. Tell me that it's not like the cutest thing you've seen. Maybe for December we can use this. I'm sure that as the year goes on, I will probably add more, but for now I'm happy with it, the way it looks. Yeah. For now, I'm happy with the way it looks. One more thing I wanted to briefly mention, and that is, let's talk a little bit about pens and what has worked so far in the Hibino. So I will show you examples of both. I'll just show you. Okay, so these are for pens. Okay, so this is actually this, you're looking at the Sarasa. I'm going to make sure we're in frame. So this is the Sarasa in 0.5 thickness. This was written with the black. I can't find the black. I'm pretty sure I left it in my kitchen, or no, I think it's actually in my pouch. It doesn't matter. But the Sarasa pens work really great. Obviously, the Sarasa pens will work on pretty much anything, to be really fair. So Sarasa pens are fantastic. For highlighters, I was using this brush pen, this dual-ended pen from Sailor. Obviously, you can use whatever brush pen you want. I only have like 3 different colors in this. I have it in brown, I have it in like this fuchsia red, and then I also have it in like this cream color. And I really like these because it writes a nice crisp line, so really similar to your Tombows. And then if I want to add like micro detail, so let me see if I can find it. So sometimes I would do, I don't know if I have an example of that. If I wanted to write like really small, I can also use, this is my Winston & Newton in 0.3. This is a really fine tip pen. Fantastic for that. And then the other ones that I've used in the past before, trying to show you an example. As you can tell, I don't have too many spreads with these types of pens. Okay, this would be, I think this is it. This was with my 0.5 Pentel friction ball pen. And like the beauty about this is that it's an erasable pen. So sometimes I do enjoy these types of pens where they're more erasable and it just kind of flows a little bit easier. And for color coding and things like that, I usually use my Uni Emmet. Again, you can use whatever like fine tip color markers you want to use. Now, when it comes to fountain pens, as you can tell, the majority of my spreads are actually written with a fountain pen. So my top two favorites when it comes to that is it 100% has to be currently, and I mean I have too many of them, is the Kaweco Sports. Kaweco Sports in fine, fantastic. It works really, really well. These are all fine nib pens. Currently, the one that I have in here, it's like this beautiful rich green. It's called Kaweco Green, and it's in my white Kaweco. It's in my white Kaweco Sport. If you haven't seen the currently inked video, I will just leave it in the card so you can check that out. But I mean, we kind of go through the different colors and the swatches, but this is what it looks like in the flesh, in the process. I really like it because I can go a little bit heavier. The ink flow is fantastic. Can't say enough good things about it. I have used Pilot Pereira. This is also in fine nib. I have used this. It's generally not my favorite because it's a lot runnier. So I don't even know, like this would be, I think, Pilot Pereira. This would also be Pilot Pereira. Not my favorite to write with in here because I need to do micro detailing a little bit more. So for that, if you have any of the Sailors, this one is the Sailor Yoseka collaboration. I think this is a Pro Gear Mini. But I mean, this one is in a medium fine nib. Medium fine nib will allow you to make your spreads look like this. So this is what it looks like. I would like to show you more examples of it like in the past months. But usually whenever you see like really crisp lines, then you can pretty much guarantee. So this would be an example of that. When you can, but it's just when I'm writing with it, it gives me a lot cleaner, a lot crisper line with whatever ink I'm putting in here. So this would be a good example of that. So this would also be a good example of that. So I do enjoy using it because it's almost mimicking a 0.5 thickness in Sarasa. So just keep that in mind. Depending on what you use for writing, that might deter you or it might inspire you. I really like using fountain pens here because I can really get to the micro detail, and obviously like I find that it's a lot easier on my hands, so I do have a preference to that. But I mean, I know it's not really going to be everybody's cup of tea. This is all I have for you. I think that we pretty much covered everything, and we at least started our setup for 2025. I would love to hear from you now that we've covered what's happening with my 2025 Hibino. Let me know in the comment section if you're planning on getting a Hibino, if you've heard about it, and what your thoughts are, where you're at with your 2025 lineup. I would love to hear from you. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you have not yet, and make sure that you subscribe if you haven't had a chance to already. Again, we chat a couple of times a week here. We're talking about anything and everything, journaling, planning, minimalist planning, all the things, with of course a little zest of intentionality to make sure that these tools are actually serving you. They're not just collecting dust on your desk. So thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope that you have enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye.